Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I'll be ranking all 25 of the MCU properties, the 2 TV shows, the 23 films. We're going to put them all together. We're going to make one big gigantic list. Now remember, this is my opinion. Your list is not going to look anything near like mine. Maybe some might look like that, but I don't think anyone's going to have an identical list compared to mine. We are not going to agree on everything, and I know I've got some hot takes on this list as well that not many people are going to agree with. However, just remember, it is all opinion based, subjective, it's not objective. So don't go killing people and saying, "Oh, you're an idiot for having it here." Let's just, come on. Can we just all live peacefully? So let me know in the comments below, what is your list? I want to know. Smash it down there. Smash that like button as well. Hit subscribe as well. And we're going to jump straight into this list of the MCU properties.
Perfect.
Iron Man 2 comes in at number 25, the bottom of the list. Now granted, I don't think any of these MCU films are necessarily terrible or worse comic book films or like absolute garbage. But when we are talking about these lists, we are comparing them against each other. And for me, Iron Man 2 is the weakest one. Why do I think that? The villain, to start off with, I don't really care for Whiplash. They don't really make me care for him. I don't like his character. I don't see anything redeemable or anything that makes me want to really emotionally be attached to him and go, you know what? I totally understand why you're doing that. I just kind of feel like, they kind of really brush over the sins of your father fall on your head or anything like that. They just brush over that really, really quickly. I think there's a lot of unforgettable moments in Iron Man 2. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I find it the most boring out of all the MCU films. It's the one that I least rewatch. Yeah, so I don't find it. While Tony does have a pretty decent arc, I just find everything else outside of Tony is kind of a bit like dull and boring. But that's just my opinion. So down at the bottom, 25, Iron Man 2. Thor: The Dark World comes in at number 24. Again, I find this one to be very weak as well. While I love the Thor character, this movie is quite bland and boring. I will say that. We have to talk about the biggest and major problem of this film, and that's the villain. Malekith is one of the most uninteresting, boring, dull, forgettable characters I have ever witnessed in cinematic history. I could, to this day, cannot tell you what his motive is, why he's doing what he's doing, what is his actual character. He's just there to fight Thor. That's all it is. The chemistry between Thor and Jane is not very good, I will say that. The Jane character in this movie I do not like at all either. I think there's a lot of problems story-wise as well. While the twist of Loki chopping Thor's hand off and that was cool, but you kind of felt like when Loki died, you kind of felt like, yeah, Loki's not dead. But overall, I just find this film boring and dull, and it's another one that I at least rewatch. While it's got some cool action sequences, I just don't find anything interesting about the story, the character, or anything like that. And for me, it just falls flat. So number 24, Thor: The Dark World. Iron Man 3 comes in at number 23. To me, I'm not the biggest fan of this one either. Where do I begin? Okay, the first bit. The twist, the Mandarin twist, I absolutely hate. I hate it with a passion. I really do not like it. I just find it very cheesy, very, like, why are you messing with us? Like, I can tell you now, the first part of Iron Man 3, up until that twist, is absolutely fantastic. I really, really love that. I absolutely love every part of that film. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, you know what? I actually really, really like this. The twist happens. Are you serious? That just, and then from then on, it just fell completely flat for me. I was just like, what is the point of this? Killian as the villain, I mean, he's so generic. Like, oh, I met him at the top of the rooftop and he never came. He stood me up. Now I hate him. Now I'm going to kill him. Dude, come on. That's so generic. Be creative. And a lot of MCU villains have this generic trait about them. And a lot of them do fall flat. And again, Killian falls flat. The story falls flat. I would really dig in the whole Mandarin storyline. But then once they turn that out to be just a joke, you lost me completely. And I really, really dislike this film. It's not one that the other two, I think, are boring and dull and very hard to rewatch. This one, I can rewatch the first part, and then after that, I'm kind of like, well, this is boring, isn't it? This really falls flat. And I think pacing's all over as well in that film. But again, some people like it, and kudos to you. But for me, it just didn't work. And number 23, Iron Man 3. Hulk comes in at 22. Look, this is probably one of the, well, it is the only film in this list where you can really not watch and it has no impact on the MCU. I will say that. It has no impact on the MCU. I like Abomination. I like Hulk and the fight that they have. I thought that was really, really good. It was interesting. Abomination is a great villain. I am very interested in him. I want to see him come back, and we are going to get him back in She-Hulk as well. That was interesting. The love connection, I didn't really buy into, and they kind of just threw that to the wayside in the MCU. She never returned, and I was kind of like, okay, that's a bit weird. They never picked it up. But it is one of the most forgettable films in this list, and I think most people have it down the bottom. It's one that most people don't really rewatch. I thought Edward Norton was decent. I prefer Mark Ruffalo as Hulk and Bruce Banner, to be fair. But this is very forgettable. It's very, I don't know, it's a weird one, this one. I don't know how to express how I feel. It's sort of like, I don't mind it, but then again, I'm kind of like, I don't have no urgency and no need to re-watch it. Especially when I'm re-watching on the MCU films. I feel like I don't really need to watch it because it doesn't really have a grand impact. So hopefully with them bringing Abomination back, we might actually have some connections to the Hulk movie that's going to make it a bit more important in the grand scheme of the story of the MCU as the universe. But right now, it's one that just, you don't need to watch it. And that's the problem, I think, that also has it when I'm looking at this list, is like, I just don't need to watch it. So, I'm sorry, 22, Hulk. AntMan and The Wasp comes in at number 21. Look, this one is a bit of a mess. I mean, we got to start off with Sonny Butch, I think his name is. Why, like, that whole subplot line of him and that in it is just kind of like, what the fuck? Why is this in the film? Honestly, you could take that out of the film and it'd be so much better. I think he's so wasted in this film and so dull, boring, and I'm kind of like, I don't need him to be in this film. It's just, it's a subplot that just doesn't fit in this film to me. It doesn't work. While I still like Hank, Scott, and, now I forgot her name. Who's Wasp? What is her name? Now I forget. That's how forgettable this film is, really. Anyway, I like their dynamic. I just had it. It was on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, their dynamic is great. Ghost, I think, is a bit underdeveloped. Could be developed a lot more. I think that would help her as well. I understand why she's doing what she's doing, but then again, it's kind of like, give me a bit more depth to her. I want to know more about her. Come on, just give me a bit more. But I think having this as this storyline is just so weird. I don't know. I don't dislike this film. It's good, it's fun, it's entertaining. But then there's so many subplots in this film that I'm kind of like, you don't need them to be in there. And they just take away from the main focus of the characters. And we lose, like, if you get rid of Sonny Bush in this film, you get rid of that whole subplot, you can focus on Ghost and develop her more into a better villain and make us feel sympathy and empathy for her and understand why she's doing it. But unfortunately, they don't do that, so it takes away from that. And for me, AntMan The Wasp comes down in this number 21, I think it is. So yeah. Yes, you read it right. Iron Man is number 20. This is a hot take. a lot of people love this movie. Granted, I think it's a good movie. It's a good movie. But I've got it down here. Yes, I do. Look, I think the villain is great. Ironmonger is great. I really like him. I understand his motives and stuff like that. I think he's great. I really do. I love Tony's arc in this film as well. I thought it was really, really good. So now you're hearing me say, well, if you like those two things, how come you have it so low? While it is like that, I think it's one of the most boring MCU films. I do. I'm sorry. I just find it so boring and dull. And it just never grabs me and goes, rewatch it. Rewatch Iron Man. You have to rewatch Iron Man. You got to. You got to do it. It just doesn't grab me like that. While I can appreciate how breakthrough this was for the MCU, because it started the whole thing, and I'm very grateful for it, it just doesn't have the magic that makes me want to rewatch it. I don't know, this is another one where it's so weird. I'm not the biggest Iron Man fan, and I just don't find these movies very entertaining, to be honest. They're kind of boring. That's just how I feel about this film. Now, I know I'm going to get hate for this. I know a lot of people have Iron Man very, very high. But for me, it just doesn't have that magic that makes me really invested in it. But, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and trash it and say that it's absolutely god-awful. Because it's not god-awful. It's actually a good film. It just, I don't know. There's just something about it that just doesn't land for me. And I to this day, I'm still trying to figure out exactly what it is that just doesn't make me like really grasp and attract towards Iron Man as a character. I don't know. There's just something about it. One day I'll figure it out. But yeah, so Iron Man comes in at number 20. WandaVision comes in at number 19. Look, I gotta give it credit. It is something different, something unique, and it was cool. It was really, really cool. However, I think they made some big, big mistakes in this. The first one being the Monica Rambeau whole storyline. It felt like it was like a show where we could set her up, and I'm like, well, why do we need to set her up? Let's just focus on Wanda and Vision. Let's focus on their storyline. So that really took away from me. The way she got her powers, I thought was very lazy. Going in and out of the hex, and now she's all of a sudden got powers. I think that's very lazy. I think they kind of really dropped the ball for me in the season finale. I kind of felt like it was a bit too Disney-esque like that, and Wanda just walks away after doing this, and there's so many like stupid lines, like when Monica's like to her, they will never know the sacrifice you made for them. Bitch, please! Come on, this is the stupidest freaking line I've ever heard in my life. Wanda put them in that situation against their will. So why would they want to feel sorry for Wanda for giving up what like the sacrifice she made when she put him in that situation in the first place? She's the villain. Oh, it was so annoying. Absolutely so annoying. White Vision, I don't know where the hell he's gone. Like, they just did not stick the landing at all. They just, and I want to know more about Agatha, so they didn't really expand upon her as well. They gave us this little scene of the nightmares and that she was going through. I'm not a big fan. I'm a mixed bag on it. That's why it's so low here, down in 19, because it's just a mixed bag for me. So WandaVision comes in at number 19. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 comes in at number 18. Look, this was a lot lower. It's now actually moved up more. The reason why, like, I still have, the biggest problem I have is the tone. It's all over the place. I don't think this film understands what tone it's going for. 1 minute it's really, really dark. Like, we're talking like Ego's killing his kids, giving Star-Lord's mother cancer. We're talking like really dark, deep themes. Next thing you know, it's an absolute joke fest, and it's like a comedy. And it's kind of like the tone shift is so all over. Like, we're in this dark moment, and boom, all of a sudden it's like this big funny moment. It's kind of like, what? I mean, come on, can you not get this tone like right, and I don't think this film does get the tone right. I don't. I think there's a lot of subplots going on that really drive away from the main storyline. But then again, also, my other big issue is it's a Star-Lord film. It's not a Guardians of the Galaxy film. It's a Star-Lord film. It's so focused and centric to him. Now, there is, my other big issue is the other main cast of the Guardians feel very useless in this film. There's not, I think Drax, what was it? Drax had like 2 action sequences in this whole entire film. I don't know, it just didn't land for me. It was a big step down from the first one for me. I have high hopes for the third one, but for me, it's just, yeah, it just didn't land. Did not land. So, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 comes in at number 18. Captain Marvel comes in at number 17. Look, a lot of people do not like this film. I actually do quite like this film. I thought it was a good, fun adventure. It was a great time. I had a great time at the theater watching this. I enjoyed it. I like Brie Larson, and I really liked her character as Captain Marvel. I really do like her character. I don't think she got the best material to work with. I will give you that. I think they can really expand upon her character and give her a bit more depth. It is a very generic storyline as well. I will give you all that as well. It's very generic storyline. The villains, again, underdeveloped. I will give you that as well. I just don't find the villain very interesting at all. Yong Rong, whatever his name is. I do like the twist, though, of the Skrulls actually being good, but whether or not they're going to change that, because in the comics they're actually not, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with that whole thing, but I think the big issue I had as well is they were promoting Ronan was going to be in this film as well, and he was in it for like 2 minutes, which I thought was kind of a bit like, ugh, that's a bit dull. But yeah, the journey, I enjoyed the journey. I enjoy it. I wouldn't say it's like anywhere near top tier Marvel, no. I can see what people have problems with. I do. And yeah, I can accept that. But I think I enjoyed it enough to put it up here. So yeah, I'm going to put it at 17. Captain Marvel. SpiderMan Homecoming comes in at number 16. Look, I enjoyed this film. I did enjoy this film as well. I really like Spider-Man. This was the first real introduction of his own film in the MCU. And we're all stoked for it. However, I think I did used to have this a lot higher because I used to love this film. But over time, I started to realize the reliance on Iron Man in this film is a bit too much for me. I can see why people were saying Iron Boy Jr. and stuff like that, because I can see the reliance on that. But granted, it is a shared cinematic universe, so you're going to get that. And it makes sense that Iron Man would turn up in those situations. But I do like Peter's arc in this film. I really did enjoy his arc of understanding. And I think his dynamic with Tony really worked well into his arc as well. Where Tony's being that mentor, trying to shape him into the hero that Tony wants him to be. Because he doesn't want him to be like Tony. He wants him to be better than Tony, not be reckless. And he knows he has great potential to be this great hero. And I enjoyed that relationship. And Peter's arc, where he's trying to understand, like, I'm more than just that suit. I thought it was a really, really good sentiment. Like, he's trying to understand that, in a way, it's like, I have all this power, and I can do good with it, and I need to learn to respect my power and use it for good, but not also abuse it. And I thought that was a really, really cool arc. And I enjoyed, we got to talk about the Vulture. The Vulture is a fantastic villain. And see, this is when Marvel and that do villains really, really well, is they give us the motive. I completely 100% understand why the Vulture is doing what he's doing. While it's still wrong, I understand what he has to do. His livelihood has been taken away. He's got mouths to feed. He's got people to pay. He's got people that have jobs under him. He's got to find something to do to feed everyone, and he does that. And I really liked his character as well, and I thought Michael Keaton was great in it as well, so I enjoyed it. Number 16, Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 15, Avengers Endgame. Look, I know a lot of people have this very high. For me, there's too many problems that I find in this film that makes me put it anywhere near the top 10. Granted, why it gave me some fantastic moments. There is some great moments. We're talking portals, Captain America getting Mjolnir. We're talking the big picture of Captain America when the whole army's there. Brilliant. We're talking about Tony and Cap reuniting. We're talking about the opening sequence. We're talking about when Captain Marvel arrives, Tony's death. We're talking about all these great iconic moments. It's brilliant. Absolutely love it. However, there's so many problems in this film. We're talking the whole time travel stuff. They literally contradict their own time travel rules that they make. Okay, but I mean, the payoff's great, but it doesn't really work. Tony just knows how to do time travel and quantum physics all of a sudden out of nowhere and is a master at it. The rat walking over is pretty convenient. Like, there's so many little things like that. They nerf Hulk pretty bad. Like, there's a lot of issues I have with this film. Granted, it is a great... I wouldn't change anything about this film. I will tell you that right now. I would not change anything about this film. While I still absolutely love it and I have a ball watching it, there is a lot of problems in this film and I can't ignore them. So that's why I've got it down here in 15th. Number 14, The Avengers. Granted, a lot of people have this very high as well. For me, while I still like this film as well, I do have some problems with it. I think Loki's a good villain, but I think the whole rest of the cast of the villains, what are they called? The Chitauri or whatever? They are just pure fodder. And for me, there was too much of it in this film, especially in that final battle. There's too much fodder. I would have liked to see maybe a second in command of Loki, like behind Loki, like a big super like Chitauri or something like that, that actually gave our heroes a struggle and actually a challenge to overcome, rather than just them walking through everyone. It did feel like it was a bit too easy for me. I do like the whole idea of them, how they were put together and that. Their chemistry was great. I enjoyed all that. But I just think there was way too much fodder. That last whole battle and that is kind of like, pretty like, I don't know how to say it. It's just, I wouldn't put it up there as one of these big battles that I'm really going to rewatch and that. That's just how I feel. It's just because there's so much fodder. I just don't like it. But I think it was decent enough. I enjoyed The Avengers. So I've got it here at 14. AntMan comes in at number 13. I really enjoyed this film. What was so great about this film was it was something different. It's a heist film. It was something different and unique to the MCU. And when they do these things that are unique and that, I really appreciate it. And I give them props for trying something different. Incorporating different genres into the comic book realm and giving us like a heist like Ant-Man. I enjoyed it. I love Scott Lang's character. I really enjoyed his character and the way that he was developed, the way he did things. I thought it was cool. Yellow Jacket as a villain can be better. I will give you that. He's very generic. He is very generic. Like, we've seen his story being told out before. I did like the suit though. The suit was really, really cool. And there's a lot of great moments in this, and I really enjoyed the comedy. The comedy is great. Like, especially, I laugh so hard every time when they're having the fight and the Thomas the Tank Engine's come around and he's like, ah! And you just see it, it's like, it's just little things like that. And what also makes this so good is it's not a grand scale film. This is a little local film, basically. So what I mean by that is, it's a small scale, small stakes. We're just here in this little town, San Francisco, I believe it is. I think it's San Francisco, or something like that. It's just there. It's not focused there. It's not like a big worldwide event or anything like that, like an Avengers or anything. It's down to earth, and I really, really enjoyed that, because sometimes after you watch the Avengers and stuff like that, you just want a little small story, a little heist film. It was brilliant. I enjoy it. I absolutely do. And, I mean, you got to give it to Luis in that as well. I mean, it's just brilliant. I love Ant-Man. So, number 13, Ant-Man. Doctor Strange comes in at number 12. I really enjoyed this Doctor Strange. It's visually beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. How they bend all the walls, bend in the mirror realm and that. I thought was absolutely fantastic. Doctor Strange himself, I really enjoy his character arc. I enjoy him. He was brilliant. Mordo, I really like Mordo in this film as well, and I'm so excited to see him come back in Multiverse of Madness. I really enjoyed his character, and his dynamic with Doctor Strange is great. Add in Wong, who I thought was really, really good as well. The Ancient One was an interesting character. We got a little bit more of a backstory, which I thought was great. We got some lore to these magical beings, what is really going on. Dormammu showed up. I'm excited. I want to see more of him. I want to understand more of him. Caecilius, that's where this film is, its biggest downfall is. He's kind of just there. He's a vessel, really. That's all he is. He's just there to throw problems into our things. I mean, when you get Matt Mikkelsen to come in and play, you got to give him more material, more things to work with. I wanted to know more about Caecilius and his backstory, why he went to the Dark World, whatever it's called, the Dark Dimension. Why did he give into the Dark Dimension? Show me the rise and fall of this guy. I want to know why he fell. But they don't do that, and I think that hinders the film. But other than that, I really have a good time with this film, and I really enjoyed all the character arcs, the development, the world building of the magical realm. I really enjoy it. So number 12 is Doctor Strange. Falcon and the Winter Soldier comes in at number 11. I enjoyed this series so much. Oh, it's just brilliant. I mean, the way that they were able to transition Sam from a sidekick character to a main focus moving into phase 4 now was brilliant. It had some really, really great moments throughout the whole series. Bucky's character development was great. We got the return of Zemo. We got to see Carly, who I thought was a really, really good character as well. I enjoyed her character. I understood why she was doing what she was doing, and I thought that was great. I really enjoyed the whole Isaiah stuff as well. I thought that was great. I mean, it broke me down in the final episode when Sam does what he does. I thought that was brilliant as well, and Sam proving people wrong and telling people, look, we need to be better. We need to help these people that have disappeared for five years that disappeared. That's not their fault. We need to figure out. We need to be better as a society. We need to be better as a world. We need to be better as the human race and enjoy and accept everyone. I thought it was really, really good. John Walker was a fantastic character, and I cannot wait to see more of him. I really like him as a character. I enjoyed everything about this. It was so good. Yeah, so The Falcon and the Winter Soldier comes in at number 11. Black Panther comes in at number 10. Look, I love Black Panther. Where do I even begin? T'Challa. Absolutely love T'Challa. I am so devastated, and rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. I'm so disappointed we're never ever going to get to see him portray T'Challa more. I mean, he's probably one of the new characters that I was so invested in and was looking forward so much to see his growth as a character and see how far we can take this character, because in Civil War he has a great character arc, but then in Black Panther, what is really, really good is Killmonger comes in. He's a fantastic villain, and Michael B. Jordan was outstanding. But what makes this so good is T'Challa changes his mentality because of Killmonger. Killmonger's values and what he's fighting for rub off on T'Challa, and he goes, you know what? I need to find a middle ground between what he believes and what we believe, and find that middle ground where we can do this and do it right. And I thought that was great storytelling, fantastic. Granted, the CGI in this has its moments where it's not very good, but I think the story is great. Yes, it's very Lion King-esque, but I enjoy it so, so much. I thought it was incredible, and I really enjoy Black Panther. So it's number 10 for me. Avengers Age of Ultron comes in at number 9. This is a film that every time I watch it, I rewatch it, and I like it more and more and more. I don't know why, but I just do. I still believe Ultron should have got 2 movies. He's that type of villain. But for what it is, I really enjoy Ultron in this film. I really like him. Granted, his whole turn is very, very quick and very sudden. That's why I say we need 2 movies to really flush out his character, but I do really like his character. I understand why he's doing it, and I sort of see why he would do something like this. Yeah, we are a bit of a fucking dick race, the human race is. We bomb each other, we kill each other. we're self-destructing. Yes, I get that, and I understand why he's doing that. You throw in the Avengers really being tested, being torn apart and brought back together because of the mind stuff that Wanda's playing with them, the whole Ultron thing. Tony is trying to figure out after what's happening in the Avengers, like, I need to do something. I need to stop them from invading again. I need to put out this suit of armor. And I thought that was incredible. And the whole dynamic between all of them really testing each other was brilliant. I really liked this film. There's not much else I can say. Every time I watch this, I like this film more. I don't know why. I just do. Number 9, Age of Ultron. Captain America, the First Avenger, comes in at number 8. I love this one as well. This is a great story. I really enjoy it. And I think it's very motivating and inspiring, this film, because you see this scrawny kid in Steve who is willing to lay himself on the line all the time, no matter what, even if the guy's bigger and stronger than him, just because it's the right thing to do. And I really enjoy that. And the way that he's able to jump on the grenade, to sacrifice himself without even hesitating, it really showed the character he is. And then we give him the super soldier serum. I really enjoyed Captain America, what he stood for, how he went behind the back of everyone to save people because it was the right thing to do. I really enjoyed this storyline. Granted, the Red Skull, I'm disappointed because the Red Skull had so much potential and he could have been a lot better. They could really dive into him. I think it was a very missed opportunity that they had with the Red Skull to really drive him home as one of the big bads in the MCU. But it is what it is. But I enjoy this film. I really do like it. It was really good. It's fun, entertaining. And yeah, so Captain America, the First Avenger comes in at number 8. Thor comes in at number 7. I think this is one of the most underrated comic book films of all time. I really enjoy this. Now, granted, some people are not going to like it like I do, but I think what really makes this film for me is the father-son, the brother and brother connections. I think that is absolutely fantastic, and I thought it was nailed perfectly here. I enjoyed it. I understood all the motives of all three of them. I understood where Thor was coming from. I understood where Odin was coming from. I understood where Loki was coming from. And I mean, obviously it's going to be a bit of a personal thing for me because I've got a brother and I've got a father, and we have a sort of very similar dynamic to the Thor movie. And that's why it connects with me so much harder and so deeper on an emotional level. And when a film does that, it's obviously going to make me invested more. And I really enjoy this story. I enjoy the journey of Thor. The character arc in this of Thor is brilliant. Even Loki has a character arc. And I enjoy that. And Odin even has a character arc as well, which is so good. You have the big three having these exceptional character arcs, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And you having them willing to, like Thor, willing to sacrifice himself because he's like, brother, I don't know what I did to you, but I'm truly sorry if I've upset you no matter what I've done. And just, that is so emotional, so powerful. I just enjoy this film so much. It's so good. And it's probably the only film, really, that doesn't really have a centric villain in it. I wouldn't really say Loki's a villain in this. He's just a misguided person because he's being lied to. Odin lied to him of who he really is. And he's now finally realized, I'm actually not Odin's son. No wonder why he favors Thor. And I can see why that dynamic would happen. And I enjoy Thor. I really do. I could talk about Thor all day. But obviously I don't want this video to go for too long. So number 7, Thor. Guardians of the Galaxy comes in at number 6. This used to be a lot lower, but after rewatching it, this is just one of the funnest and funniest films in the MCU. I enjoy this so much. I think the dynamic that James Gunn was able to create with the whole cast is brilliant. The chemistry is so good. There's so many great moments that you're just laughing all the time. You're having a great time with this film, even though there is some pretty big stakes in the film as well. I think Ronan, I do like Ronan. I don't know why. I just really like Ronan. But I think his character could have been flushed out a lot more. But I was hoping they were going to do that in Captain Marvel, but they never did that. But that is a bit of a downside. I wanted to know a bit more. I thought, but overall, as a film, I really enjoy this film quite a lot. I don't know, it's just so freaking funny. And I just like, yeah, the dynamic, how they're able to bring this misfit of a group who all have their own individual things they want to do to band together to create this big unified group willing to lay their lives down in order to save the galaxy. It's pretty cool. The dance-off's pretty cool as well. I thought Yondu was good. Michael Rook is always good. And Yondu is one of the greatest characters in the MCU. And he's really, really good in this as well. And I loved it. I just love this film. So number 6, Guardians of the Galaxy. Captain America Civil War comes in at number 5. And also known as Avengers 2.0. 2.5. Whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I enjoy this film as well. I think Zemo is a fantastic villain in this. What makes me really like Zemo in this film is he doesn't defeat our heroes like a normal villain. He's not out there on the front line beating them up physically or anything like that. He breaks them down mentally and pins them against each other. He uses his brain instead of brawns. And I thought that was a very, very good storytelling aspect. And I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that element. I really enjoyed the conflict between Tony and Cap, and I can see where they're both coming from. That's the beauty of it. You can see why people are on Cap's side, and you can see why people are on Tony's side. And I thought that was really, really good. Then you throw in Bucky as well, and I just really enjoyed that element of having how Zemo's, what's it called? Now I'm forgetting the word. What does he do? What do you call it? Frame. Thank you. Framed Bucky to put him out to be the bad guy. I really enjoyed that. And it really gave us a bit more depth into Captain America and what he was willing to sacrifice in order to save his friend. I thought that was freaking incredible. The airport sequence, brilliant. The whole, what's it called? The car chase scene was brilliant with Black Panther. Now, Black Panther has a fantastic arc in this as well. He has a really good arc that sets him up perfectly for Black Panther. And I enjoy Civil War. I really do. The action's high quality, storytelling's high quality, looks gorgeous. Number 5, Civil War. Captain America, The Winter Soldier comes in at number 4. I really enjoyed this film quite a lot. As you can tell, that's why it's so high. I really enjoyed this because it was different as well. It's a spy thriller in the MCU. With Captain America. And you all know Captain America is my favorite character in the MCU. I absolutely love him. And this was brilliant. This is probably one of the most watchable ones for me. I really love rewatching this all the time. I love the whole the conspiracy behind what S.H.I.E.L.D. is. The whole Hydra is S.H.I.E.L.D. I love that conspiracy stuff. I love the spy element where they're on the run trying to hide from them. Really enjoyed it. I enjoyed Black Widow and Cap's chemistry. I thought that was great. But I think what really, really does it for me is they really tested the Captain America character in this film. And it's so hard because Cap is very similar to Superman in a way where he's like the perfect dude. Like, he's a really, really good person. Like, there's nothing you can do that can really, like, you got to find something that can mentally test them rather than physically. And that's what they did in this. Cap's trying to realize, who can I trust? I can't trust my own government. I can't trust them. I can't trust these people. And it really tests him mentally rather than physically. And I thought that was great. And in The Winter Soldier, Bucky, when he finds out Bucky, that whole final battle, brilliant. It was a gorgeous film. I really enjoyed The Winter Soldier. It's so good. Number 4, Captain America, The Winter Soldier. Thor Ragnarok comes in at number 3. Probably the funniest film in the MCU. I adore Thor Ragnarok. I absolutely love it. It's so good. Thor's arc in this is brilliant. Absolutely phenomenal. I thoroughly enjoy his arc. It's so good. And it's a very dark film because a lot of stuff happens. Thor loses a lot of people in this film. He loses a lot. And it's a very, very sad film. Hela as the villain is incredible. I love her as villain. Cate Blanchett does a fantastic job. She just is so good. Loki's great. Oh, the chemistry between Thor and Loki. I could sit here and watch Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston do a reality TV show all day long. Their chemistry is unbelievable. I love their dynamic. You throw in Valkyrie. She's great. Bruce Banner in this is great. The whole Hulk versus Thor battle is brilliant. Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum. I mean, the guy's just an absolute god when it comes to acting and movies, and I love him in this film. He has some of the greatest moments, the funniest moments, where he's playing the keyboard and he's like, why are we whispering? Tone works really weird here. And he's just like playing the it's Thor Ragnarok is great, and I just enjoy it. I enjoy it so much. So number 3, Thor Ragnarok. Spider-Man Far From Home comes in at number 2. I know some people are not going to agree with this, but I don't give a shit because I adore this film. I love this film. I love Peter's arc in this film. Seeing what happened at the end of Endgame. This is the event of after Endgame now. Now Peter is struggling because he doesn't have anyone to turn to anymore for advice and help. So he's on his own. And it's such a good character arc that he goes through where he's a teenager kid. Like, he just wants to fall in love with MJ. He just wants to be a kid. He wants to enjoy life. But he has these powers and this responsibility now that Tony's gone, now that the Avengers are broken up. Like, people are looking to the next person to step up and be that hero. And he just wants to be this kid. And it's so good because it's that struggle he's having throughout the whole entire film. And then when he gets tricked because he thinks Mysterio is going to be this hero that everyone needs, and he gets manipulated and tricked, is really, really good. And Mysterio is great. I love Mysterio in this film. Jake Gyllenhaal, brilliant. Acting god. He is phenomenal. I love his character as well. And then the scene in the aeroplane with Happy and Peter, it gets me all the time because I can feel the struggle Peter is having. The struggle of, like, people are looking for the next big hero, the next Iron Man. I don't know if that's me, Happy. I'm just a kid. And, like, when Happy tells him, like, Tony didn't even believe in himself half the time. Like, he couldn't live up to his own expectations. And, like, this is your chance to be you. Be Spider-Man. You're not gonna be Tony Stark. Don't think it like that. Just be you. Be what you would want to be. Be Spider-Man. And it's just so good. I love it so much. And I think it's absolutely, the action's so good. I love Far From Home. I love it so much. And it's number 2 for me. Avengers Infinity War comes in at number 1. I really enjoy this film quite a lot. The whole cast is there. Everyone's there. Brilliant. But I think what makes this film so good for me is 2 characters in this film. Thor in this film, I adore his character arc in this. The way that he literally loses everything in this film. He has lost everyone. Loki, his mom, his dad. By this time, he's lost all of it. He let half of Asgard die right then and there on the ship. Like, he's just lost everything. And he is going through an emotional breakdown throughout this film. And then he realizes that the scene with Rocket, where he's sitting there with Rocket, it's just so freaking good. It's a masterclass in acting by Chris Hemsworth. It's so good to when he arrives on Wakanda, and he's just like, that scene is just, oh, it's so freaking good. I just love his whole character arc in this. Thanos. This guy is just so good as a villain. It's just so good. I love his character arc. And what makes him so good is he thinks he's the hero of the story. And when a villain thinks he's the hero of the story, Ultron and him make them even more deadly because they will do anything and everything in order to be that hero that they believe they are. Thanos wants to just save the universe. And he thinks by the way he's doing it is gonna be the correct way and it's gonna be the only way to do it. And also what I really, really love is they had the balls to do that ending. To have Thanos win at the end. I thought it was incredible. I really liked this film. I enjoy it so much. And number 1, Infinity War. So let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think? Did you have the same idea as I do with my list? But also, smash it down your list below. I want to know so we can have a discussion. And remember, it's all opinion based. This is just my opinion. This is just how I feel about this film. Other films are going to connect with people different. I know I have friends who say Guardians Volume 2 is up there in their top like 5 and that, because they connect with the father-son connection between Ego and Star-Lord, which I can never say is wrong, because that's how they connect with it, because it's something that's happened to them in real life. That's just how it is, like Thor with me. I connect with that a lot more than most people do. So, yeah, remember, it's all opinion-based, so let's not just hate each other for it and say people are wrong when there's no real right or wrong answer. But smash that like button, hit subscribe as well, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.